What's going on? What's going on? Hey, Lala. Kind of just messing around with this thing. It's been a while since I've been on here. Welcome in, y'all. Tamika, I see you. So, today's topic. So, we're doing the part two. We're doing the part two. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't mean to open that. Sorry, I'm a little late, guys. But we are doing the part two to the conversation of chaos. And today's topic is what really sets off your chaos. Today's topic is what really sets off your chaos. So we're gonna go through a different layers of this part of the conversation. So there's 4 layers that I want to go into in regards to what sets off your chaos. We're gonna speak on the internal. We're gonna speak on the external. We're gonna speak on the inherited, and then we're gonna speak on the intentional. So there's gonna be 4 parts. So Montgomery, welcome in. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. If you guys are coming in from the registry, welcome in. If you're coming in from some of my content, I appreciate you guys coming through. If I look like a ghost, it's because of this background. I do apologize. But when you guys hear the question, what really sets off your chaos? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when somebody says that? Like, what sets off your chaos? Because we all have chaos within us, right? Nobody's excluded from the conversation of chaos. We all have it in us. It's just a part of the human nature. So when you hear the conversation, what sets off your chaos, or hear the phrase or the question, what really sets off your chaos? What comes to mind? I got you, amiga. Derek's in the building. What's good, bro? My brother, my brother.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So this conversation. I think it's going to be a really important. People giving negativity. I mean, chaos is not always negative. So you got to think a little deeper. Chaos is not always negative. Chaos is one part. Negativity is one part of chaos. We gotta open your mind a little bit more than that. Derek's in the building, bro. What's going on, Charlotte? Welcome in. So when you hear what really sets off your chaos, you got to go a little deeper. Your chaos could be set off from negativity. Absolutely, we're not going to ignore that, right? But it could also be you trying to work through things, work through some inherited situations, some unhealed trauma. You know what I'm saying? It can be through a lot of different layers. So we got to go a little bit deeper than just negativity. Negativity is just one of them. Negativity is definitely just one of them, but it is one of them. But we're gonna definitely define this whole conversation. But my brother, how you feeling, man? Me feeling overwhelmed. Okay, that's a good one. I like that. Josie, welcome in. Me feeling overwhelmed. That's definitely a huge one. That's actually one, Mika, that a lot of people ignore. Is feeling overwhelmed. and the chaos starts when you feel overwhelmed. So that's huge. I like that. Coach Tiny be in the building. That's huge. So, as you guys know, since this series has started, me and Hormiga have not shared any notes. We have not had any conversation besides the fact that we were going to do this series. So, anything that he hears from me is going to be new to him and vice versa. Just to keep it fresh for you guys, right? And so you can see how easily we just intertwine with the conversation that we have on here. So I told them that we're gonna go through 4 segments. So we're gonna do the internal chaos, the external chaos, the inherited chaos, and the intentional. How you feel about that, brother?
I feel that that's a elaborate way of breaking it down and showing people the compartments of it.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. I think it's important though because when people hear chaos, like we said last week, people think about just that the basic layer of what chaos could be, and it goes way deeper than what you guys understand it to be. Just like Mika put out the over being overwhelmed, most people don't ever think about the chaotic mind when the mind when it's overwhelmed, how it can create chaos when you're overwhelmed. It can cause you to lash out at people. It can cause you to think negatively. It can cause you to do many things when you're overwhelmed, and that's an important part. That's an important piece to bring to the table. So I appreciate you mentioning that, Mika. So let's kind of break this down, right? I had posted a question. I had posted a question to you guys when you guys registered for the live. I'm gonna go bring that question up in a second. Um, and I don't know if anybody did their homework, but if you did, you seen the question. What's one chaotic pattern you keep repeating even though you know it hurts you? I had posed that question to you guys last week. For the people that were in here, they seen the question. For people that registered for the live, they seen the question. I made sure the question was there for you guys. And if people are coming in that's new, make sure you guys are sharing out the live and getting some people in here. But it's a good question to ask. What's one chaotic pattern you keep repeating even though you know it hurts you? Yeah, it's not always negative, but that was the first thing that came to mind. It's always gonna be. It's always see. That's the thing, Lala. It's always gonna be that one thing that comes to everybody's mind is negative when you hear about chaos. That's the first thing that's gonna come to everybody's mind, right? And that's normal because that's what's been constructed for everybody to comprehend is that chaos is always negative. Good morning, Angie Boo. Good morning, Elevated Soul. Um, that's what I'm saying. That's the normalcy of what chaos looks like. It's negative, but chaos is not always negative. Like in the healing journey, there's a lot of chaos in the healing journey because you're going through so many different layers of things that you're trying to work through. The layers of the things that you're trying to work through have chaos in them, and that's not negative. Trying to figure out the chaos within your healing journey, all of that stuff is positive, but because you can't comprehend it and figure it out, it seems like it's negative, but it's really not. It's just you trying to figure out the layers of your life and the things that you're healing from, you know? But we're gonna dive into it today. This is gonna be a good topic. I think this is gonna be a good conversation. Anybody that runs their own show and runs their own um things on TikTok, I feel like this is a conversation that really needs to be had, and I would love to see other people bring this in into their platforms because I think it's an important conversation to have. So I'm gonna break down the definition of each chaos that we're gonna be talking about today. And I'll repeat them as we're going along. So just before we start, everybody that's here, rate your mental 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. So please, if you can drop your numbers in the chat, I'd really appreciate that. And if you are new here, please definitely um, hit the like button, hit the tap the screen, uh, you know, uh, I think you have a twin trying to come up.
Wait, did I press that by mistake? Don't do it.
All right, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. If you are new
Oh,
here,
man.
please follow me. Please follow Hormiga. Um, Definitely give us a follow. 987. Okay, yeah, just going down the list.
Thank you for the gift. I appreciate that.
Going down the list. I appreciate you. If can y'all invite Dame? I don't know if Dame. I know Dame wanted to be here, so if you guys can invite Dame.
I did send him
Okay, I got it.
I, I didn't send him a request. I sent him a you know,
Got it.
whatever you call that.
Okay. Um. So let's kind of break it down, right? Let's kind of break it down. On so internal chaos is racing thoughts, anxiety, and lack of clarity. External chaos is toxic environments, constant stressors, unstable relationships. And then the one that we are really gonna dive into is that I really want to dive into is inherited chaos, is emotional and behavioral patterns handed down through family or culture. It's not always intentional. Parents or caregivers modeled what survival looks like, and it became your normal. That's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good conversation right there. The inherited one. I think that's gonna be a good one, brother. I think that's gonna be a good one. And then the last one is the intentional chaos. What's intentional chaos? When someone deliberately creates instability to gain control, attention, or avoid accountability.
Manipulation.
At its finest. At its finest. So, question, and this is for everybody. Harmika, you can answer this as well. Is chaos something that happens to us, or is it something that we feed without realizing it?
It's both.
It is both. But what do we see the most though?
It depends on the person because it will vary. Some people. Just to give you an example, ladies and gentlemen, and do not get your underwear in a bunch after I say this. But some people always talk about their culture, but they don't have any.
Hmm. Okay.
Some people honestly sit in their chair wishing that something happens to them so that they can be a victim for once.
Madison, welcome in.
And some people thrive on being a victim. Some people push themselves to be in a to make themselves look like they're in a victimization
Hmm.
type of thing. I mean, there's aggressive victimization that comes from outside sources, and then there's victimization that comes internally, right?
Right. True. So a lot of the I think a lot of people really struggle with internal chaos because because we have a vast majority of people that do want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be, they want their voice to matter. But on top of the internal chaos, the constant it's the constant of things going on in their life. If you're a social media person, it's the constant notifications, the constant, notifications on your phone, people sharing stories, people posting stuff. It can be you receiving multiple text messages from multiple people. It just becomes overstimulation. It becomes an overstimulation for you and for your mental, and you don't know how to handle it. You lack boundaries, is what that is for yourself. When you're overstimulated for the things that's going on, that's current, like receiving too many text messages, receiving too many notifications, you lack boundaries for yourself. You Even with the things with technology, you have to create boundaries. There has to be a level of boundaries for yourself, and that's exactly elevated. That's where people drop the ball. 100%. You don't just create boundaries for people, you have to create boundaries for the things in your life as well. So what are you doing to alleviate that, right? A lot of us go to social media for because we're bored. Like, there's nothing else to really do. There's nothing else to indulge in, so we indulge in social media. Trust me, nobody's excluded from this. I'm with you on this 100%. I indulge in social media just as much. Um but I also have a moment. I have my moment of boundaries where I don't even want to be on anything. I don't want to scroll. I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to deal with none of that. So I just turn my phone off, or I just put my phone away, listen to some music, right? Go read an article, do something positive, right? Read a book, spend time with family if you got people that you can spend time with. There's so many things that you can utilize that can, you know, cut that piece out, right? To remove the overstimulation. You can choose to be overstimulated. You can choose it. It's a choice. Some people don't know how to handle it, and that's where the boundaries come into place. You got to have some level of boundaries for yourself and for the people that are causing the overstimulation, the people that are messaging you, the people that are hitting you up. If you're receiving random notifications for people that you follow, turn off them notifications. You can go right on TikTok and turn them notifications off. You can go right on Facebook, turn them notifications off. Instagram, turn them notifications off. You don't need to have them on. You can turn them off if you choose to. If you choose to, right? Another thing that causes internal chaos, unresolved emotions. Unprocessed pain creates mental loops that repeat endlessly. You have to work through your thing. You have to work through unresolved things, meaning you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. We have many things that we deal with that we choose not to want to handle or deal with, but it has to be done. It's important because what ends up happening is it keeps on resurfacing, but there's no solution to the things that's bothering you. There's no solutions to the emotions that's causing you uncomfort, right? There's I'm being uncomfortable, and there's something that's causing you uncomfort with without any resolve, and that's usually what that is there's no resolve to the things that's making you uncomfortable. When you're being uncomfortable to heal, that's a difference. But when you're just being uncomfortable because of the things that's going on, that's constant, and you're not working on it, you're not doing nothing to resolve it. You're not creating any solutions. What are we doing? How is that going to change? Where does the change come if you're not doing anything to resolve that? What do you feel about that, Hormiga? Unresolved emotions, unprocessed pain creates mental loop that replays endlessly. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Are you muted? Try now. Say something. Nope, still can't hear you. Can anybody hear him, or am I just tripping? No. Okay. I can't hear him either. Try to jump down and jump back in. See if that changes anything, because you're not muted. It could be the headset. No, I can't hear him either. He's talking though. There we go.
Yeah, it's these bootleg earpieces.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, what I'm gonna give you the boring vanilla answer.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Anytime that you feel discomfort in your life, it's going to be an imbalance.
Okay.
It's the beginning signs of an imbalance. You know, now whether if you catch it before it becomes overwhelming, then you're doing your job. The job is not to avoid,
Mm-hmm. Welcoming
right?
everybody.
Your job as a healed person is to be able to coexist with the things that bother you and understand that they're going to be there.
Right.
It's almost like take the four seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Winter, spring, summer, fall. In the summer, people complain that it's too hot. In the winter, people complain that it's too cold.
Right.
So you're an imbalanced person because no matter what the season is, you have something to say or complain about.
Agreed.
So again, if you can catch it at the gate, you'll be able to stop it from becoming overwhelming.
Mm.
If you can stop it from turning into something that is unmanageable,
Right.
then you're on the right track. And people have this false or this misconception
that they're going to get rid of their feelings, they're going to get rid of their emotions. No, it's not getting rid of them. It's understanding that they exist and not allowing them to escalate so that they turn into chaos.
Right. So anybody that's sending a request, stick around till 11 o'clock. I'm gonna let everybody up at 11 because I do want to hear everybody's perspective on this. All right. Um,
Absolutely.
but you're right. You're right. And one of the things in regards to internal chaos that's really difficult for a lot of people is the lack of structure. Right.
Is discipline another word for lack of structure?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So a lot of people, when it comes to your day or your life, you have no clear boundaries. Right. There's no clear boundaries in regards to how your day is supposed to go, what your life looks like, right? And then when your thoughts start to spiral, your thoughts spiral without any direction, right? There's no direction to the spiraling. So when you have no clear boundaries, why we that there's a reason why not only me, not only Hormiga, Coach Derek, like when we speak about boundaries, it's important. Not in just the relationship aspect or the romantic aspect, just in general. Like your life needs boundaries. All of it. Your life needs boundaries no matter how you look at it. You can't operate without boundaries. It's impossible.
That's it. That's a whole. Oh man,
Cuz the boundaries create the balance that you need, right? Cuz there's a
boundary.
because there's
Yeah.
a balance, there's a balance to the chaos. There's a balance to the positivity. We spoke about this last week. You can't have the positive without the negative. You can't have the chaos without the positive. There's a balance to it. If you don't know how to operate within chaos when it actually happens, you're not gonna know how to handle it. You're
I
not
got
gonna know how to deal with it.
you got a quick question. Fast Talk says, "Do you think it's just part of the human condition in general?"
I think it's one part of it. I
Yeah,
think it's
because
one. I think it's one part of it.
yeah, when it comes to that, we've heard a lot of different things that human nature is built for survival. We've also heard that we have to rewire, the way our brain functions or the way we interpret things.
Right.
Again, these are all just synonyms, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not a word that you like, don't be so quick to allow yourself to let it imbalance you and then create chaos because it's not a word that you usually use. You see,
Hmm.
people will say that's part of the culture. That's not part of the culture. You know what that is? That that's part of the curse
Right.
of not being able to open to somebody else's point of view because they're not using the words that you use.
I
That's an
think
imbalance.
I think a lot of the things too when it comes to what you asked fast is a lot of people subscribe to things just because it sounds good, right?
Or it supports their narrative. Their narrative.
So yeah, sometimes the narrative is not the best narrative either. Sometimes the narrative is very condescending. It's very narcissistic in a sense. Yeah, it could be very narcissistic in a sense. It could literally just you feeding your own bullshit because it sounds good. It could be that, or it could be something positive. But like you said in the beginning, is based on the person. It's based on
Yes.
the is the base it's an individual it's based on the individual. So unfortunately, your question, I don't know. I guess like you said, it's based on the person. Like, I can feel something different about human nature. Hormiga can feel something different about human nature. I feel like this society has created this quote unquote understanding of what human nature should be, and it's not that cookie cutter.
Yes.
It's
That's a good
not.
way of putting
It's
it.
it's not that cookie cutter, unfortunately. There's too many layers to the human nature that, you know what I'm saying, that we, even as humans, haven't even tapped into yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like a lot of us tapped into like the basic aspect of what human nature is, but there's so many more layers to that we have yet to even try to even jump into, you know? So it's
There you go.
tough.
The assumptions. Elevate. Let me share something cool with you about assumptions, right? Assumptions, we've talked about this for years. Assumptions is coming to a conclusion without the facts.
Right.
In some cases, depending on your experience level and your ability to interpret things the right way, your assumptions may carry higher value than others because a person's assumptions are scientific, logical, or they come from a place where we're trying to figure it out as opposed to pushing your narrative. I'll give you an example. This week alone has been one of the wildest weeks on earth. But the moment something tragic happens, and let me listen to the word tragic. For some people, it's tragic. For other people, it's justifiable. For other people,
Mm-hmm.
it's they're happy about it. Other people are sad about it. Some people don't condone, And again, not to get into details to what I'm talking about. We all know what we're talking about. We're not going to get into that. But
Yeah,
that's
we
to
know.
give you an example of I feel as though there are some really callous people on this earth. You understand what I'm saying? And the proof has came out in the last couple of days where
Mm-hmm.
everybody now is jumping on the bandwagon to talk about something that they don't know nothing about.
Listen, we're gonna leave that right there. We're gonna
And
leave that. We're
that's
gonna
the
leave.
same approach that we take. I only said that not to talk about that subject,
Mm-hmm.
but to talk about the approach that people have and leading back to assumptions.
Right.
People that are qualified to make assumptions. But these are people that have high level skills, don't have any biases, and are not led or misled into something that will convince them of otherwise of the reality of what's actually happening. So,
No,
and
that was good though. You were absolutely right about that. That was good. That was good.
well, perception and perspective, right? How can
Right.
you have a clear perception and perspective? And you're not wrong about your perception and your perspective, but that perspective and that perception understand that at the end of the day, in its complete form, only belongs to you. That sounds like emotions to me.
Yeah. No. True. 100%. Good morning, babe.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Mm.
It's
So,
funny how people jump on the bandwagon for everything else when it comes to expressing chaos, but you won't jump on the bandwagon that'll put you in a place where it'll lead you to win.
yeah. I mean, we see that every day on social media, man. Like the chaos. But the chaos that you're speaking of is the chaos that Lala brought up in the beginning of the live, the negative chaos, right? That's the first thing that people jump to, right? Because it feels good. It makes them feel good. It's exciting, right? It brings a level of umph to a conversation that most other versions of chaos won't bring, right? Negativity attracts. It has the level of energy that attracts, right? It has a dopamine effect on a lot of people, right? And we can't ignore that fact. People have a dopamine high when it comes to negativity, and that's just the honest facts, right? Facts are facts. We've seen it happen on multiple occasions. It's not just on social media, just in life. Like, look, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that enjoys the negativity, there's a dopamine high that they're looking for, and that chaos brings that dopamine level to like a far exceeded level that nobody needs that level of high. Let's keep it all the way 100. If you're looking for that level of high, you got some work that you need to do. You need to go to therapy. Like I'm gonna be completely. Like, you need some therapy. You need some help. You need to figure that out because there's no way that you really are indulging in that much negativity that it really excites you. Negativity shouldn't excite anybody. That's weird. That's a weird behavior. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna dive into that because that's where the inherited. That's where I want to have the conversation of inherited chaos is. You know what I'm saying? Because some of that stuff people were raised in. That's something that became a normalcy to them. But we're gonna dive into that later. I got you. I promise you guys. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. So one of the things I wanna speak on, which is a lot of people actually struggle with the most, one of the things that people struggle with the most, especially in their healing journey, is the external chaos, right? Creating a healthy balance in your household, creating having a healthy balance in your workplace, your social circles, right? Because unfortunately, you can't control the energy in your social circle. The only energy that you can control is yourself, is your energy alone, right? You can't control your friends, the way that they operate, the way how they talk, the way that they maneuver, the way that they think. The only thing that you can control is you, which is why the boundaries. You see how it keeps coming back to having boundaries. Like you see how that keeps happening. It's always gonna come back to you having boundaries when it comes to the chaos. That's gonna be the number one thing that keeps coming back is having the boundaries. So when it comes to things that are out of your control, right? Things that can be easily manipulated, things that can be easily manipulated around you, you have to have boundaries so that way you don't get caught in the middle of that crossfire. Because you can easily get caught in the middle of that crossfire if you're not paying attention to what's to your surroundings, to the things that are actually happening around you. How many, like show of hands, right? We got friends that we've known for years, right? We have had a circle of friends that we've known for years, and we know them so well that we tend to ignore certain things that they do, even though it interrupts the boundaries that you created for yourself. But because you've known this person for so long, and you know you've been around this person for so long, because you've worked in this place for so long, that you tend to ignore certain things. We've all done it. We've all done it. I've done it. I know Hormiga's probably done it a few times. I've done it quite a few times. We've all done it. We've all had people in our circles, in our place, and around us that we've known, a place that we've worked there for so long that we tend to ignore certain things. We do. We tend to ignore certain things, and that's just being human, right? But you can only be ignorant once in a certain in regards to certain things. The moment that you're ignorant to it, right? It's a choice. You're making that decision to ignore it. You're making that decision to just let it keep hitting your boundaries, keep disrespecting your boundaries that you created for yourself. You got to think about that. Think about that for a second while we're here, right? How many times that we've allowed things in our life to pass over our boundaries that we created? We've all done it. Nobody's excluded from this conversation. And that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, because nobody's excluded from this conversation. We've all done it. We've all done it. And if you haven't, if you think that you haven't done it, you probably did it without realizing that you did it. But now that we're having this conversation, I'm sure that you're thinking of something that happened, and it's just like it's clicking, right? Even excuse saying, "Oh, that's just how." Right, exactly. Relationship coach Chris. Exactly. Like we just make an excuse for it. It happens. It's just a part of the things that we do. When we learn more about what the boundaries look like for us, and the more that we appreciate ourselves more, then we don't allow these things to happen, right? But there's a layer to this. It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't. And I was gonna get to that. So I appreciate that, Angie. But there's layers to this, right? When you start to change and you start to be better and you start to see the better for yourself and you start to operate a little bit better, you start to maneuver a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother, just for you, right? For nobody else, for you, right? You have to be prepared to lose people. You have to be prepared to be around people. You have to understand that the people around you might not take the change very well because they're so comfortable with the person that you are, right? Because the person that they know, right, they're used to, it fits so well into that mold that you guys created in your friendship, in your group, in your social circle. So now you're trying to break that mold. You're breaking out of that shell, right? Now what does that look like? You become the black sheep of the social circle because now you're not the same person that you were when the social circle was created. Not saying that person's not in there, but you're well aware that the person that you were in the social circle was not really the person that you wanted to be. There was a level of of authentic energy that was missing in the person that you were in that social circle. So now you started to change. Now you're able to look from the outside in and realize all the negativity and the manipulation that was in your social circle because you allowed it, because you were ignorant to it, right? You see how this like is coming full circle when you start to pay attention to these signs, when you start to pay attention to these things, when you start to get the tools that you need, things look different. Life starts to look different. Life starts to look different. You have to sit back, right? I call it the out of body experience. When you sit back and look at things from the outside perspective, you start to see everything, right? You're looking from your peripheral, you're looking from the front, you're looking from the side. You're seeing things in a full 360, right? You can see everything. Now you can turn around, you can see everything. You got to be able to do that. It's important. That's how you're going to eliminate the external chaos. Not saying the external chaos may not happen, it still can happen. But at least now you have the tools, you have the guidance that you need. If you get the guidance from like a coach, therapist, right? Now you got the guidance, you got the things that you need to see these things in full circle, and you can try to avoid it as much as possible. And the good thing about dealing with chaos is once you deal with it, you no longer have to deal with it because that was your normalcy. You already know enough about chaos to not deal with it again. Now you're looking for the positive. You're looking for the opposite. You see how that works? Now that you've dealt with the chaos, you don't no longer have to deal with the chaos because you already dealt with it. Now you go look for the positive. Now you're looking for things in a different light. Now you have balance because now that you're looking for the positive and you found the positive, now there's a level of balance to it. You've already experienced the chaos, and then where you are right now in your normalcy is the positivity and that balance and that boundaries that you created from having that balance is important. I hope that made sense to you guys. I know that was long winded, but I had to put that out there.
And I definitely didn't want to interrupt you, but I was taking a couple of notes.
Go for it.
I want to go back to the word ignorant.
Mm, go for it.
If you if you ever heard me speak on TikTok or any social platform, I tell you that people are not doing good in relationships because they're not relating. But it's hard to ignore the word ignore in
What up, sis?
ignorant. The
Right.
word ignore is in ignorant. But here's the thing,
Hmm.
we have to be better at making better choices. Sometimes we choose to ignore things that work for us. Sometimes we choose to ignore things that will help us. Sometimes we choose to ignore like advice.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, what makes you a better person is the fact that you can still learn something from someone you don't like. You can still learn something from a subject that bothers you.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Right. So again, just because you chose to ignore something doesn't give you that pass that we talk about. We tell you that once you've been exposed to something or once something has been exposed to you, if you chose to ignore it,
Mali.
you can't be ignorant because you could say it's lack of submission. You could say it's lack of authority. You could say that it's lack of learning. You could say that it's lack of putting yourself in a winning situation. But you do not get a pass because you chose to ignore something that was actually good for you. So that's not
Right.
how it works. Because people, what they do is that they bypass it, right?
Hmm.
Not right now, Teddy. Not right now, Teddy. And then Teddy calls next day. Not right now, Teddy. And tomorrow doesn't look good either. And next week doesn't look good either. In other words, I'm brushing it all off to get to a point where I'm ready to hear you, but the truth is that I'm never going to be ready to hear you because I want to hear it from someone else.
Right.
So again, choosing to ignore something does not give you a pass to claim innocence through ignorance.
Mm. Well,
You
that's deep.
can't be innocent. That's another thing too. I'm innocent. I didn't know. Um, People that lie about knowing something to make themselves look good or to take themselves out of the equation, you're not an honest person. It's a dishonesty. And anything that you do that's dishonest in life creates imbalance. So if you're adding more imbalance to imbalance, you are on the way to chaos.
Right.
Does that make sense?
100%. 100%.
So we have to be able to we have to be able to push the narrative that we don't know everything, but at the same time give ourselves grace that we know what we know,
Right.
and that takes balance to do that. And I hate to say this, but there's too many people walking around in imbalance, thinking that they're walking a balanced life, and they're not because they're just one slice of cheese away from having a sandwich.
That was good. That was good.
I'm just saying, right? Like everybody's sandwich is different, right? Think about this.
Yeah.
Life is like a sandwich. What
Yeah.
some people don't even use bread. Some people
Mm,
like different condiments.
right.
Some people like different meats. Some people don't like meat at all. Some people don't like cheese. Some people like white cheese. Some people like yellow cheese. Some people like mustard on the sandwich. When I went down south the first time and they put mustard on my burger, I almost had a cow, bro. I'm like, whoa, who told you to put mustard? That's how we do it down here in the south. Have you ever went through that experience where you went somewhere and they took what you normally eat a certain way and they added a condiment that just totally threw you off?
Absolutely.
Well, then that's
Absolutely.
what life is. Life is a sandwich.
So I'm gonna give you guys this little bit, right? In regards to why it is so important to pay attention to the external chaos. Um your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment. If the room is always on fire, your body will never feel safe. I'm gonna read that again. Your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment. If your room is always on fire, your body will never feel safe. Levette, welcome in. Number two, chaos outside eventually becomes chaos inside if you're exposed long enough. Chaos outside eventually becomes chaos inside if you're exposed long enough. Number three, people often normalize external chaos by saying that's just how it is. Whoever wrote that in the chat, whoever wrote that in the chat earlier, 100%. I was gonna get to that, but you kind of jumped the gun, so I appreciate that. So people who often normalize external chaos by saying that's just how it is, instead of realizing it's unhealthy. I think it was Coach Chris that put that in the chat.
Yeah, I believe so too. How many of these do you have?
Nope. I got three. I put three up. I put three. I didn't want to go too far in.
After you do the third one, just go through it one more time.
Okay. No, that was the third one, so I'll go through it again.
Yeah, please.
So the first one was your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment. If the room is always on fire, your body will never feel safe.
That's one.
That's number one.
Okay. And then go through the next ones and then we're gonna unpack those things.
Okay. Number two is chaos outside eventually becomes chaos inside, hence external and internal chaos, right? If you're exposed long enough. That's number two.
Mm-hmm.
Number three is people often normalize external chaos by saying that's just how it is instead of realizing it's unhealthy.
All right. So let's go to the first one. Say it again slowly, and I will interrupt you at a certain point. I'm letting you know ahead of time so that we can unpack this. And we're going to do something different, ladies and gentlemen. Not only are we going to unpack these things, now we're going to give you some ways to make yourself aware of this, and we're also going to
Hey,
offer
Vinna.
some solutions.
All right,
Most people
let's
in
do
these
it.
platforms do not offer this. The unpack, the identification of it, and then the solution. So we're going to do something different today.
Appreciate you. All right, you ready?
Go ahead.
So part one has two parts to it. So I'm gonna read the first part and then we'll go through the second part of it. So it says your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment.
Hold it right there.
Hmm.
Your nervous system is wired
To mirror your environment.
right. So how do we notice? How would you notice something like that? Or would you give an example of something, a light example of what that looks like?
So to give a light example, I guess I could try to. I can only do it. Give an example based off of my experiences, right?
Right.
Um, you guys know the conversation of me and my sister and that whole dynamic, right? Um, my environment with being raised by my sister was always not chaotic, but it wasn't structured. Like it was, there was like you can never really guess what was gonna happen next, type of thing, right? So that became normal to me. I started to mirror that same behavior. Like I would never have any structure to the things that were going on. So my brain got my nervous system got comfortable with the fact that there was no structure to the environment that I was in. So I created it became a normalcy to me, and I started to do these things, right? So when it came to me being an adult, not saying that I didn't grow out of it eventually, but that was normal to me. I got you, Derek. That was a normal thing that happened. My life had no structure to it, like because that was something that I thought was okay. Um, I guess that I mean I'm sure I can come up with a better example than that, but that's like the one that came to mind.
There's no such thing as better. Welcome in, Derek. There's no such thing as better. What I'm trying to do is help people how to be aware of potential chaos.
Mm.
You see, because some people do not recognize the things that can turn into chaos, and do not recognize what they're saying and what they're doing to contribute to the chaos. Like for instance, if you're not good at identifying chaos, then you got to get better at it. But you could also be the person that is igniting. You could be the person that is
I,
making the flame higher and stronger. You
I
know what
got
I'm
a
saying?
I got a better example.
Okay.
I got a better example. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this one? This is for people that don't like loud noises. Now, if you're a person that don't like loud noises, put a one in the chat, right? So think about you walking into a house, right? Kids are screaming, music is loud, TV blaring extremely loud. Now, in regards to people that have sensory to loud noises, their heart starts to race, their muscle tense up, like you know what I'm saying, and your brain is wired to scan for like alerts, like high alerts, like threats. Like your brain is scanning for these threats. That's another way of your nervous system mirroring your environment. I
Right.
hope that made sense to everybody.
No, I mean, it's gonna make sense to some, and it's not gonna make sense to other one. I don't know how much you heard, Derek. Um, he
Right,
came up.
sensory overload.
He came up with three examples. And I wanted to break that down, unpack it, and for the first time, show people how to be aware of what that looks like before it happens. Because if you're doing it during or after, it might be too late. And then we're also going to give some solutions, Derek. So, how much did you hear about that part?
You're muted, Derek.
The three example
There
parts.
you
Sorry, my little thing isn't working. Oh, sorry. Did I say that?
Yeah,
go.
it says mute, it says mute, but it's not mute.
The three things I didn't hear, but I've been listening for like the past 10 minutes or so. So I don't know what part I missed.
I can
Well,
read. I could read it out too. I could read it out again if you need me to.
read out the whole. Let's stay on number one. Read
Okay.
out the whole thing, and then give it to Derek at the point where I stop you.
Okay. So it says so the first part of part one was your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment. And then the second part is if the room is always on fire, your body never feels safe.
So I stopped you at the point where,
You said your nervous system is wired to mirror your environment. That's where we stopped.
right. So we're trying to unpack that, Derek, help people become more aware of it, and then offer some type of solution. So we're on the unpacking right now.
So here's a general statement. The nervous system is wired to survive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you say it mirrors your environment, it's really trying to survive in said environment, right?
Right.
Even if the environment is chaotic, it will find ways to make that chaos feel normal, even when it hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson would be is the self-awareness to understand what's painful and what's not.
Right.
Those lines get blurred because we're just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
We're surviving enough in that environment that we don't even know to leave it because it's all we know.
Right.
And like survival mode,
Right.
right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So when someone says that you mirror it, you're really just making it, and I use this word loosely, you're making it safe for your nervous system, even though that safety
Yeah.
isn't safe.
Right.
But you have to make it feel as safe as possible because you need to survive. Your nervous system doesn't know
Thank you guys.
this is danger because danger has levels.
Right.
It's going to treat all of the danger at the highest level, so you're forced to try to survive and fix it however you can.
Yeah.
And so you're perpetually going to live in that state because your nervous system eventually starts to get used to it.
Mm.
You eventually start to get used to it. You eventually have created a space where you can survive in it, maybe physically,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit mentally, but there's a more conscious part of you that knows that this is painful, right? We see this in relationships too that are dysfunctional.
Right.
You inherently know that it's painful, but your nervous system is trying to tell you we can work on it. We'll survive. We'll make it because this is the bus coming at us, about to hit us. We are figuring out how to survive in this. So
Right.
what do you do with that? You got to take a step back and make an assessment of your environment, but that takes a part of your brain that you probably haven't used in a long time or ever. And that's why the therapy, the coaching, and the people that can come and shake you a little bit and say, hey, wait, there's a bus coming, right? Like
Right.
it's gonna hurt. So I land my plane.
I mean,
Uh,
no, he's right though, right? And that kind of goes back to having that out of body experience, like I mentioned. Like you got to take a step back and look at your environment overall. Like what does it look like when you actually take a step back? Like, and 9 out of 10 times when you take a step back, you don't really recognize everything else around you, right? You only recognize what's comfortable enough for you to survive, not for the whole environment, because you don't usually use the whole environment to survive. You only use what's necessary. And when he's
it's
talking about making changes to survive, we're not talking about the changes that Lala's talking about. Lala's talking about the changes in regards to making it better, right? Not to actually survive, but to make it better, so that way you're not in that survival mode. When he's talking about making changes, he's talking about in the sense of them making changes to continue the survival aspect. He's not talking about the changes that they're making to become better. He's talking about the changes for them to still be able to survive. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I caught that.
yeah, and I'm glad you're talking about this because that's exactly in the direction that I want to go.
Okay.
Because there's a huge contradiction here. And I want people to recognize this contradiction, right? How is it that when you're on survival mode, and I could also say that the same thing as paycheck to paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
keeping your head above water,
Mm-hmm.
how he is, that's how she is, right? It's funny how you compromise with yourself to keep this alive.
Yeah.
You actually accept things and do things in a way that keeps this going. You know that when you're in survival mode, you're like one step away from going down in a downward spiral. It only takes
Mm-hmm.
one small little thing, like another reference that I love: the straw that broke the camel's back. You understand what I'm saying? No, that straw
Yeah.
has been on that camel for a long time. It's barely hanging on. So
Right.
what I want people to understand is, how is it that we're able to accept our methodology, our ideologies to keep something alive that's no good for us? But we keep rejecting things that put us in a place to recognize it. Is it because we are so used to it, like you claim, right? You claim that we take pain and you can get used to pain, but what are we doing is, are we feeling safe in familiarity even though it hurts?
Mm.
So in other words, we would rather deal with the pain and get used to the pain that in the long term is doing long-term damage to you, instead of taking the steps like scanning for weak signals, look for early signs of trouble, miscommunication, delays, or emotional tension, right?
Right.
We don't ask the what if questions, anticipate scenarios that could go wrong. You know
Right.
why? Because we take it for granted
Mm.
and we do not understand what we are doing to keep this survival mode intact, because we feel that we need to be in survival mode all the time because that's the only place that we can function from. So we'll do our best secretly. We think we manipulate ourselves so much
We
that we
do,
make ourselves believe that the damage that we're doing to ourselves is acceptable or it's normal.
and it's not.
No, it's not. And it's going to cause long term. Let me give you an example. Whenever you go into a new place, it feels like it takes forever to get there, right? But why is it that going home always feels the shortest route and it's the same distance? So, what you come home to, think about this. It's easy to run away from difficult situations because coming home is easier and faster. And what I mean by coming home is going back to your natural state where you think survival mode is like some type of uplifting skill.
Right.
It's not. Survival mode means that you are keeping it alive too long. We all go through hardships in life, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing to continue this survival mode? 'Cause your survival mode is actually sustainable. Think about this: a sustainable survival mode. Like you
That's
have created
that's
a.
scary.
Think about what I'm saying. You have created a life where survival mode is your sustainability, is your discipline, is your constant.
That's a scary place to live. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's
Let me
you
tell
know,
you
am I
something.
lying?
Let
We
me
all
tell you
have done
something
this.
about. Let me tell you something about survival mode, right? I think I have the gold medal for it, right? Let me tell you something about survival mode. It's almost like a constant state of panic, and let me tell you what the nervous system does. It gets so used to it that even when it's not present, your body still thinks it is.
And yearns for it.
You
And
still
yearns for
feel
it, right?
you still feel the anxiety even when it's quiet.
Hey, beautiful soul. Thank you for having me.
And so let me the perfect example of how the survival mode works. It's like a payday loan. It never goes away until you can figure out how to step outside of it and enter in something new, like new cash, right? Or else it's going to follow you no matter where you
Say
go.
that again. Say that again because you went too fast, and I don't think people caught that in a business sense, right?
Yeah, that
You,
that
you
that
said,
payday loan,
hold
that
on, hold on,
payday
hold on,
loan will
hold on. You
ruin your
said,
life.
you said a payday loan, instead of using a payday loan to get up, you're not getting anything out of it. If anything, you are putting yourself backwards, right?
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But if you take a payday loan on a Monday and you use that money to make more money, not only will you be able to pay the interest, you will be ahead of the game.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Nobody takes a payday loan to get up. People
right.
take a payday loan to keep themselves in survival mode or to go backwards.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep.
And that's what
That's
we're doing with our life.
yeah,
Very true.
yeah.
Very true.
It's almost like, well, I won't say almost. It's debilitating mentally.
Mm. Hmm.
Just waking up every day with that on you, that panic, that anxiety, that worry. And this is not just, this is in any aspect of life, relationships, work, family. You looking at your kids like, how am I gonna? I don't. When you're
Bills,
like that,
deadlines.
when you have to live like that every day. Again, the nervous system remembers it, and it almost mimics it. Like even when you, let's say you owe $500 and somebody gives you $500 and that thing goes away, your brain is not has not released it,
Right.
and you're still waiting for the next ball to drop. So you can't even function in peace.
True.
And that's why you have to we all have to regain management and control of like the spaces that we sit in, the things that we absorb,
Right.
trying to figure out solutions to problems instead of existing in the problems, to the point of the whole chaos thing is we will sit in it for some people. When you talk about survival mode, and I've done shows about specifically about survival mode, it's people that say that they've been in it for 2 decades. you
Oof.
know you know how debilitating, like, think about that.
That's
20 years
20 years is wild.
and you don't even know what it feels like to breathe. That's a
Mm-mm-mm.
long time.
That is a long time.
So that's
And
my
it's not
point.
uncommon.
That's
And again, to what I think, or Mika or somebody said it. I think it might have been Emmanuel, that it's almost sometimes it's generational.
Oh,
Like you pass it down.
we're gonna dive into that next. That's gonna
Yeah.
be the
So
next conversation that we're about to bring into.
but do you realize that you had three statements, right? We're still trying to unpack the first part of the first statement.
I
You
know.
understand what I'm trying to tell you? Just to let you know how deep this is and how we put so much effort in keeping things alive that are not good for us, and we make excuses for it because we need it. It's
There's a reason why I picked this particular topic for part two, because there's there's so many layers to what fuels your trigger or what causes your trigger, and people try to look at it like it's something cookie cutter, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. It's not cookie cutter. There's so many layers to it. And there's layers to it that people don't think about on an everyday basis. That's why I brought the four versions of chaos to the conversation. The internal, the external, the inherited, and the intentional. We haven't even got to the intentional part. Like
no,
we didn't even touch that yet.
we can't. We
You,
can't because we're firm believers that you have to recognize something, right? First, clearly, before you do the next step, because you could be adding solutions to something that's not even the freaking problem, man.
yeah, we might end up having to do a part two to this actual
Well,
live
do a
honest.
plus 20 because
Yeah,
at the
cause
end of the day, this is what I want people to understand, right? Let's go with the most simplest way I can say this, right? If you're and everybody here can finish this statement. If you're not part of the solution,
you're part of the problem.
if you're not looking for solutions, you're continuing this to exist, right? So if you're
Hmm.
not scanning for weak signals, if you're not asking the what if questions, right? Like what could go wrong? If you're not tracking the patterns, like and Derek loves that. Derek loves talking about freaking patterns because we don't recognize patterns because we think that that's cool. We think that patterns is a step up because they're so consistent. So when we say consistent, we don't mean stay consistently in survival mode. Consistency doesn't come until you recognize something and you make a change of some sort and let the change be consistent.
Right.
Because we are all consistent. But what are we consistent about? Is what makes the difference in our progress. Here's the
Mm.
last thing: stay emotionally attuned, right? Chaos often brews from human dynamics. I told you guys a long time ago that when you add another human to your mathematics, there's always a potential for chaos to happen on top of the chaos that you're already going through without a human. But when
Right.
you add a variable of a human, you don't know what they're going to say. You don't know how they're going to behave. And then we get upset with them when they don't agree with us.
Mm. You know, we
So
actually
who's causing the chaos? That's my
we
question.
actually dived into the second part in a sense because speaking about the survival mode is pretty much a room being always being on fire, right? That we kind of we definitely answered that part because when you're constantly on survival mode, you'll never feel safe. No matter
Well,
how much, no
but
matter how
again,
much, no matter how no matter how much you feel you make you confuse your brain to make you think that you're safe. You are not safe.
that's what I meant
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, you're not
some
safe.
that's
Regard.
I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
some people look at certain situation as safe because it's familiar.
Right, and it's not.
I
It's
know
not safe.
that's Derek Wheelhouse right there, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I caught it when he said it. That's why I was like, we already we dived into that the whole first one, because yeah. So when you're on constant survival mode, you're never gonna feel safe. Like you're gonna create that safe mindset because you're familiar to it. But in actuality, you're not safe. In actuality, you're not safe.
So are we saying, gentlemen, are we saying that we can create a false sense of safety with familiarity?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
talk about that a little bit, Derek.
Well,
Thank you, babe.
I always talk about childhood, and even if that kid grows up in a family that may be
Spiritual
unstable
welcoming.
or dysfunctional, it will believe that this is how things are supposed to be, and then it will believe that this is safe,
Right.
and then that kid will grow up into an adult that will look for this brand of safety,
Hmm.
unknowingly, subconsciously looking for this brand of safety to recreate the environment that felt like love to them,
Hmm.
right? And so we see this play out in relation. This is one of the main reasons why I chose this niche that I'm in with the healing journey, is because you can almost mathematically predict a lot of this behavior just by looking at where they came from. It's
Mm.
not always true, but when you look at the patterns and who they choose and where they sit the longest, if it looks like a thing and you look at the origin and it matches up, it's probably true that this was something that was modeled for you and it's playing out in your relationships, right?
Right.
Or wherever your friendship group, your even in your family, right? So that familiarity has a lot of power if you don't regain power, right? To
Right.
be able to understand what danger is and what danger isn't, it's going to have to be like an almost reboot of your system, an unlearning of sorts, right? Some things we carry because we should, but some things are really harmful to us. We just have to be able to identify what hurts, right? Because there's people out here, and Ormiga both of you guys, that there's people out here that live to fight and take punches and give punches. Those punches hurt.
Absolutely.
When you take enough punches, your body's going to start getting used to it. You're gonna eat punches for breakfast. You're gonna be like, okay, punch me again. I didn't feel that. It's still, it's still dangerous.
Right. Cause
At
doesn't mean
some point,
just because you're used to them punches don't mean that they don't hurt.
right?
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
don't hurt
Yeah.
anymore because you've conditioned yourself to think that that comes with the territory, right? Just
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
look at what relationship coach Chris said in very eloquent fashion. The chaos, is less scary than the peace you have never experienced.
Very true.
And we are all scared of something new, and that's why we resist what we don't know because it's easier to accept what we are familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to that part of rewiring your brain to accept the positivity, like your brain gets uncomfortable, you get uncomfortable. Like you're gonna notice things about yourself that you never recognized, and you're gonna question them. You're gonna question all of it, actually. Like that's why having a coach and having a therapist is important when you're trying to go dive through this layer of your life that you've never actually dived into, because you're going to need that guidance. You're going to need that understanding. You're going to have questions that you can't answer yourself. No matter how much we say a lot of the a lot of the answers that we have are within ourselves. If you're not used to those type of questions, you'll never find the answers. So you need the guidance, you need the help, you need the assistance. Now, we talked about the solutions, right?
Well, I'm gonna add a couple of quick things so that you can go to the second one real quick because I know you got more stuff you want to cover, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna give a bonus tip for number one. Right?
Okay.
We all talked about writing, the power of writing, right? That is a way of expression, right? It's a way
Hmm.
to remove certain things that are in your head and in your body through a pencil, right? We talked
Hmm.
about that. We talked about the power of journaling, but we're gonna take now that to the next level.
Okay.
People could journal all they want, but if they're not journaling in a way that's going to help them with their awareness, right? That's going to help them to identify the patterns, then you're not using the journal for its maximum benefit. And I'm not trying to frown upon people. If you are journaling, that's a great
Denise,
foundation.
welcome in.
If anybody's journaling, it's a great foundation. But you
Hmm.
got to take that journaling to a second level. You can't keep journaling the same way because if you
Kathy,
keep doing
welcome in.
things the same way, you're not going to get different results. So
All right.
keep this in mind for all the people that are journaling. The moments of chaos, you need to figure out what triggered them. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, the responses. What worked? You need to journal what actually worked because some people, when they do good, they start celebrating right away, but they don't write down what works. They only write down what doesn't work.
Right.
You have to write down what works and what doesn't work.
Balance, people. Balance.
Right. And then the last thing is insight. What patterns did you notice? This builds your intuition and resilience over time. One more time. Journaling. What triggered them? What worked and what didn't? And what patterns did you notice? Do you
Hmm.
want to work on your intuition and your resilience? These are the things that you have to put inside your journal. Go to number two, bro.
Okay, so number two is chaos outside eventually becomes chaos inside if you're exposed long enough.
I'll start off by saying this. I personally feel that there's three environments.
Okay.
There's your internal environment, the environment inside of your doorknob, your household, right?
Uh huh.
Everything else.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
more you spend time in something, whether you do it or not, whether you like it or not, liking it, not liking it, accepting it, not accepting it, has nothing to do with you engulfing yourself in something that's gonna become a part of you if you do too much of it, no matter what it is.
Okay. I like that. I like that. No, yeah, that's. Ooh. Okay.
That's a tough one. So
That's a
so if
tough
you
one.
you tell me in your own words, after number two, what can you do? Add to the journaling part or add something that can help someone in that area.
For part one or part two?
Part two, we're on part two now.
Okay. Um. So
Outside influence.
no, yeah, no, I know. I'm just my brain is just
You
it's
good?
it's thinking.
Give
It's
me part two one more time.
um
Just like the cliff notes.
I got you. So chaos outside eventually becomes chaos inside if you're exposed long enough.
Right. So in other words, external circumstances,
Become internal.
internal.
Um
Whether you do it on purpose or not, it happens.
I think
That's
one
what that's what I say, Derek.
I think one of the things that can cause that is instability within yourself, right? You lack instability for yourself. You know how I say this all the time to a lot of people. What people think about you and what people say is none of your business, right? And people will internalize the external. meaning they the validation, the opinions, the thought process of what other people think about them becomes something that they think about themselves internally. That's why when I say what people think about you is none of your business, I mean that. Because if you truly are working on yourself to be better, then what they think don't fucking matter. If they're not a coach or a therapist trying to help you be better, then what they think don't matter. Not saying that you might have something that you might have to work on, but you have to recognize that, not them. Because them recognizing it is not going to help you be better. All it does is give them ammunition to attack you. And then that ammunition becomes a loaded gun. And then you start to pew pew yourself with the information that they provided versus trying to figure out the things that you need to figure out for yourself. That's what I got. That's what I got. I don't got anything else to give to that one, but that's what I got.
Listen, when you're clean with what you say, it is what it is. So like if
Yo, Mama, welcome
you're
in.
mounted through a helicopter, then might as well just put gas in the copter. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
what do you
man.
what do you think, Derek?
Um, so this is it's a big topic. There's so many different flavors of this, but I think again to what Emmanuel was saying, I always say there's an origin story for everything, right?
Right.
In your inability to maintain control in an environment like that, a lot of times was, it's kind of always been there. We talk about things like self-esteem and confidence and um, needing external validation in order for you to feel like a whole person, and all of these things come from a place that we have to work on in order for us to exist in the world and feel some semblance of normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
Then that word normalcy has layers too, because is your normal healthy for you, right?
Right.
Is it is it positive? Is it a net positive in your life? And sometimes, it's like this. You guys ever seen or know people that are hoarders? You seen that show,
Oh yeah.
and they
I don't know
it's
what that
normal for
is.
them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you can't remove them from it. You can't take one straw out of there, or they will know that it's missing, and they think that this is cool until you remove. They actually need help psychologically for them to break away from this, right? They can't do it themselves because they've been absorbed in it.
Right. Oh, he in the
There's
corner.
and there's always going to be an origin to why they became this way. But sometimes you got to tell that person there's a bunch of trash around you. Like, did you see that?
Right.
And they be like, no, I didn't see it. So when we talk about environment, right? When we talk about chaos and not realizing it or not removing yourself from it, sometimes people they're incapable of doing it because it's been a part of them for so long. And that's
Right.
why the help matters, right? To what Armiga was saying about, like, what do we do? Like, how do we even start, right? And that's the hard part. Imagine a
Mm.
world where your normal, the chaos, the hurt has been it's been on you for so long, and somebody says, "Hey, stop that." It's
How?
gonna take some. It's gonna take some. It's gonna take something. I don't.
Like
Sometimes
how?
yeah, like it.
Oh wait, what
It
about
damn near
this?
feels impossible, right?
Right.
But we have people that are in the comments. We have us three gentlemen here that are telling you that it is possible.
Right.
But you're gonna have to make. How they say, you're not tired enough, or you got to get tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's going to take something to kind of to jar you, but a lot of times it takes somebody that's not you to tell you and show you so that you can see yourself outside of yourself. If not, you will remain there. Like I
That's true.
said, if you ever watch the episode of that show Hoarders, they will fight you.
Oh yeah,
To
yeah, yeah,
stay
yeah,
in it.
yeah, yeah,
They will
yeah.
fight you to stay in it, and you're
Tooth and
like,
nail.
"Don't you? You can't even move. You
Tooth
can't
and
even walk
nail.
in your house." And they be like, "This is all I know."
They,
Catch those words. This is all I know.
let me talk a little bit about what you're saying. Right? Watch this.
Hmm. Who's in the guest box?
If
Somebody's in the
you
guest
have
box.
if you have consistent chaos in your life,
Can you guys see
you
the
are
guest box?
you are a hoarder.
Moderators, can you guys see the guest box? Somebody's in the guest box. I don't know who it is. So
I don't know either, but listen to what I just said. He said the word hoarder, right?
okay,
But a hoarder is not always physical. A hoarder means that they have a hard time releasing and letting go of things. So we are all hoarders, whether we are spiritual hoarders, intellectual hoarders, communicative hoarders, social hoarders, mental, love hoarders. We tend to store more than we need about certain things.
mm,
And listen to what I'm saying. Look, most coaches will tell you you should never do this and you should never do that.
right.
But what some coaches are failing to tell you is that everything and every step of our healing journey is temporary. It's not, you know how they say it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime? We have to get better at making those decisions in our lives. But when it comes to healing, this is why it takes people longer to heal than others, is because they want fast results.
That.
They don't want to do the work. The work has nothing to do with a month, a year,
Hmm.
10 years. The sooner you do the work, the sooner that you learn what you've done to yourself to stop yourself from excelling. When you work on your awareness, you
Hmm.
become more, you have more integrity towards yourself. You become more honest to yourself. And when you become honest and have integrity towards yourself, you can now, watch this, you can now identify the problems instead of trying to justify the problem.
Talk about it.
So when you recognize something, it's not for you to validate it, it's for you to journal that and say, where did that come from? Why am I keeping this alive? Was I taught to do this? What comforts do I find in my chaos? So let's ask that question again that we did last week. Are you the type that finds peace in your chaos or chaos in your peace?
Hmm. And a part two to that question: what's one chaotic pattern you keep repeating even though you know it hurts you?
That's where that came from.
That's the reason why I asked that question, because I knew where we were going with this conversation, right? I knew where this conversation was going to lead to. So that's why I posed that question to you guys last week, and I was expecting some people to answer that question. I don't know if you guys want to come up and answer that question, but what's one chaotic pattern you keep repeating even though you know it hurts you?
It
Like,
hurts just thinking about it.
right? And I
Because
know
you'll go through a series of things in your head, like, well, I did this wrong, I did that wrong. I forget it. I don't want to do it.
yeah, no, you're gonna go through some layers, man. Like you're gonna go through some layers, and you have to really be willing to ask yourself the uncomfortable question. Yeah, go right ahead. I think hey Angie.
Yeah. Hey, Sweet
Hey,
Tea
Andy.
threw me up. I'm like Sweet Tea threw me up here.
Mhm.
Thank you, thank you, Tea. Um, had a major epiphany. Um,
Okay.
threw myself in a major bubble. Been
Thank you, babe.
just to slightly debrief because I figured out that my chaotic issue is I overshare. And then when I give people the ammunition to fill their pew pews, I over defend to try to compensate
Mm,
because I know who I am. And I'm like, why is everybody judging me? Well, you gave them the pew pew ammunition to throw at you in your face. So they're gonna judge you because you gave them all your past, even though you've grown into this person that's nothing like your past. So guess what,
mm,
dummy? And I'm calling myself a dummy. And I deserve to be called the dummy. Like, you just, you know, shifted it on yourself. And you're making yourself look like an idiot. And I'm doing this and I'm not knocking, I'm calling myself all these things, but I'm not gonna cry, but like this whole week I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, you look pretty. And then like I start crying because I haven't said that in years. Like, and oh my God, I am not gonna cry in this dang box. And it's just
You're
getting
fine. You're fine.
You're fine.
getting rid of just so much toxicity in my life. And I think I was so scared of losing my mom because that's all I have. Like my brother's gone, my my dad's gone, but when he passed with his toxicity, it's like every light switch went on. And then it's like the 2 years since that happened, it was like everything I healed from slammed me. When I thought I was past everything, it's like it hit me like a freight train. And it's like I had to start all over again.
And that's
And I
normal.
blamed and I blamed myself for it. And I took it too hard. And every time something came good in my life, I looked for the crumbling. I looked like, so something good would come in. So, like Derek, I just felt every word you said about like holding on to it. It's like I was looking for, like, oh my God, like, just got this good job position. Nope, but when is it going to end? When is it going to end? Like, because something bad is going to happen because nothing good happens to Angie, and it's
Right.
like, and then you have long time people in your life, short time people in your life that are judging you, that are, not understanding you. But yet I realized it was me giving the ammunition to have them judge, and me trying to run after getting people to understand me that was just building that misleading judgment and making me feel worse about myself, rather than hearing the coach above me saying, don't listen to what people think about you. Who gives a poop? Who cares? Who cares? Just live within you. Like, live your life. Do you. Like, like, heal yourself, and
Don't get it twisted. It's not an easy thing to do. Like
no, no, no.
I know
Yes,
when I say it, it's like,
yes.
all right, yeah, okay, it's so easy. Like I'm just, you
Well,
know what I'm saying? It's not
Cause,
easy.
cause
Like
you knew the first 3 days after you coached me, I was pissed as hell at you. Like, who
I know you
the hell
was,
is he? And then I was just like, "Hi, coach. How are you? I love you." Like
cause
I
it's
was
like,
just like,
cause the thing
yeah,
is, right? A lot of the, all right, like honestly, let's keep it all the
yeah,
way 100,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And this is not just at Angie. This is for anybody that's actually
yeah,
sat
yeah,
with
yeah.
me and had a conversation. Even with Derek and Hormiga, when we have conversations, like my tone doesn't change. Like, like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I'm still the same person that I am as a coach as I am as a person. That's what makes me an effective coach because my tone doesn't change. Like even if we have personal
Yeah.
conversations and it's something that they're trying to figure out, I give them the same energy that I
This is
give
the
somebody
same way
that
you were talking to
right.
me
I give the
in
same
this
energy that I
conversation.
give to them that I give to everybody else because if I'm here to help and I'm here to support you, I'm going to give you the truth. Whether it's
Hmm.
something that you want to hear or not, I'm going to give it to you. How you take it is how you take it. But I rather give you the truth than lie to you or sit there and coddle the conversation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a coddler. I don't know how to do that. Like it's not something within me, even though I am an empath, but I'm a different level of an empath. I
That's
promise
not
you.
the same thing. That's not the same thing.
I know it's not,
Yeah.
but people try
No.
people try to
Yeah.
come people try to put it together, right?
But
They try to squeeze it together.
yeah.
I can empathize with everybody that's with things that they got going on and I hear it and I trust me, I'm a good person, but I'm not a nice person. I'm put
Yeah.
that out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm a good person, but I'm not a nice person. You can't step all over me. You can't do none of that. It's not gonna work, right? But if you come to me for coaching, I don't want to hear about what the other person did to you. I don't want to hear about it.
Mm-mm.
We can have a conversation about it, but if that's going to be your focal point of the conversation, you came to the wrong coach because that's not what I'm here for. And that's what I had to get her to comprehend and understand. Like, like yes, There's people that hurt you. Yes, there's trauma that's there from other individuals. But what is Angie about to do to fix that?
Hmm.
What are we doing to
Yeah.
fix that? What are we doing to actually resolve that? Because if you're not doing anything to resolve that and all you want to do is for me to listen to the things that other people did, then you came to the wrong coach.
Yeah. And that's why I said to you, like with my epiphany, like last week, I said, you do know I wasn't expecting cupcakes from you.
Right,
But,
exactly.
and I'm not justifying this, like my whole thing is I had to get over the hump, which I know I still have a lot to work on. So I'm not saying like I'm healed. It's not like, woo, yeah, fireworks, flames,
Right,
confetti. No, I know that for a fact. But I finally have let the past trauma go where it's like, put that crap behind you.
right,
You are worthy. You are good. You've come so, like, the crap that I was told before. I'm the girl that moved from New York with nothing in my pocket, nothing, and 16 years later, look where I am now. Like, my life could have been so different.
right.
So, like, instead of looking at what I could have now or should have now, look at what I have now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was so stuck on, oh, if I wasn't stupid back then, if I made better choices, this is what I could have had. I should have been married with kids. I should have had this. I should have been this. I should have had this in my bank account. Why am I living paycheck from paycheck? How did I come with nothing in my pocket from New York after a 10-year relationship? Nothing in my pocket, just the job. And here I am now with everything I have. Come on.
Got to be
Open
grateful.
your goddamn eyes, you stupid girl. Like, come on. Stop being
we
selfish.
and we ignore we
Yeah.
ignore the things we ignore the little things, right? And we always say the little things
Yeah.
aren't important. Like the little things are super important. We have to appreciate the small things that we go through. We have to appreciate
Hmm.
the small accomplishments that we have, right? We don't allow the small accomplishments to overshadow the work, right? That's not what we're trying to do. But you have to acknowledge the accomplishments, because if you don't acknowledge the accomplishments, then you still allow the things that you feel you should have had to be the focal point, to be the main factor, and it's no longer the main factor.
Hmm.
You have to
And
change that narrative.
I had too many people. Sorry, Hormiga. I had too many people that were keeping me in that reminding circle.
The external.
I get that.
Yes.
The
I,
external.
I get that. Let me throw something in this, and I should have did this 3 years ago. What? Watch this. You said the question that you asked was what's something that right that you should have done or what? Right? Watch this. When a coach, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a mentor, psychologist, whatever it is, sensei, right? Whatever it is, when a coach tells you you have to get rid of your feelings, by any means is he telling you to get rid of them permanently?
No.
What people are not understanding is that you need to know how to put something to the side for now.
Right.
So if someone says, no one can judge me, it's only because you're going through a phase of your learning and healing experience that you don't need that to compromise your game because you don't know how to deal with that yet.
Right.
Since you don't know how to deal with certain things in your life, we're not telling you to get rid of it. We're not telling you to get that like permanently run from it. Because if you know something about problems, no matter how fast you run, it runs just as fast
If
as your
not
speed.
faster. If not faster.
Sometimes it gets in front of you and you're like, wait a minute, I just ran from this. How can this resurface in front of me when I'm running from it? Because you're running in circles. You're
Mhm.
running from it to run to it. So understand what I'm telling you, and this is very important. Anybody in their healing journey or their growth or evolvement, ask your coach, your mentor, your psychologist, or anyone that's giving you advice. Should I totally get rid of something? Or should I put it to the side because I do not have the capacity, the
Mhm.
mental ability, or the skill set to do things in conjunction at the same time? You need to focus on one thing at a time. Derek is the first one that'll give you steps on what to do. and he tells you not to move into the next step
Until
until
you're
you
ready.
gain what you're supposed to gain from the step that you're on.
Right.
And sometimes people want to go, instead of 1 through 5, they want to go 5 to 1, or they want to go 1 3 5 4 4 2. You listen, steps were made. Like I tell my daughter, learn how to do it right before you add your own element to it.
Come up.
Take the advice that you've been given first and try it before you add something that adds to your comfort level, not your involvement. So again, I'm going to repeat this one more time.
Hmm.
Let's not get caught up on the shoulda, woulda, coulda. And when somebody tells you nobody's supposed to judge you, leave your feelings out of it. It is just temporary. And some people do not know how to readjust, and because you're supposed to honestly feel everything that you feel and make a decision of what you're going to do with that next. You're not supposed to ignore feelings because they will come back to bite you in your ass. What do you think about that, Derek?
If you don't mind, Angie Boo, I need to use you. um,
I don't let people use me anymore, but I guess go ahead, coach.
this is a good. This is for good, but you
This
said
is for
something that,
educational purposes.
yeah, educational purposes. So you said something that coincides with a lot of what we were saying, and I think it'll piggyback on what Ormiga was just saying about putting things to the side, right? It's hard to put things to the side when you can't see them, right? And so when you talked about oversharing and creating an environment for people to judge you, what your nervous system is doing is recreating something that you've always seen. It's doing its muscle memory. It's trying to, because there's many parts of your life in your childhood where you felt judged. So as an
Hmm.
adult, your brain is trying to recreate judgment, right? And it's so autopilot. Like people that overshare, it just comes out,
Hmm.
and then we
Yep.
get mad
Yep. It's
when
like,
people.
yeah, you
But
don't even think about it. It's just like, and
yeah,
it's like, what the hell? You want a rewind button, but there
yeah,
is no rewind button.
you're subconsciously recreating an environment that your inner child, that your nervous system remembers,
Hmm.
right? But until you hear it that way, we don't see it. We just do. It's a part of our system, right? And so in order to put things to the side so that you can see, sometimes with help, we have to see it a different way in order to be able to grab it and kind of manage it better, right? Because it's our life experience, so we can't just get rid of it, but we can put it to the side so we can see better. And then if it comes back, we be like, wait, I know that's from childhood. But before you knew that it was that, you had no control over it.
Right.
So that's why understanding. That's why I always tell people, once you are able to call a thing, now I don't give you a pass not to see it anymore. Now you know what it is. So you're making a decision to deal with. It's going to take time, but you're consciously making a decision to deal with something that now you know what to call it, right?
Right.
Which means A, get help, A, move differently. Now you know what to think. You can no longer say, "Oh, I just grew up like this." No, you're hurting people. No, you're hurting yourself. You feel that? Once you're able to like get to that point to be able to see better, it's going to always be on you because it always has been. And
Right.
as an adult, we're like, oh, like Angie Boo was saying, I just overshare, and and I shouldn't do it or whatever, right? But it's always been there. We just never was able to kind of consciously notice it. Because when you said judgment over here, I was like, I
King.
know, I know, oh, I know that one. And I've done the same thing. That's why I was like, yeah, but when you really sit back and think, being judged started when you were little.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. Mama
But
needs to
like you
welcome
said,
in.
now I have that little tool bag, and I keep calling it my book bag. Like
Yeah.
the coaches have heard it. I have my book bag with the tools, but do I use the tools? That's my
You
gig,
always use the
and that's
tools.
my deal.
You
Yeah,
always
no,
use
I
the
know.
tools.
No,
Always
I
use.
know.
And
Yeah.
that's the discipline aspect of it, right? Because
Hmm.
I've told you guys this all the time. If you guys have my book, The Art of Discipline and Confidence, um it tells you that, right? It tells you that like people will gain the tools that they need, but they don't have the discipline on how to utilize it, on when to utilize it. The tools are there to utilize all the time.
Yes,
all the time.
being able to determine. I like when people say, "It shall pass." It's not only is it biblical, it's logical.
Right.
Shall pass. We need to understand that the only reason that our emotions last so long is because we decided to engulf, hoarder, or react to it instead of respond. Like I'm telling you, it only takes 2 or 3 seconds
Right,
to
babe.
stop yourself from saying some stupid shit, or 2 or 3 seconds to stop you from thinking in a direction that doesn't help you. It keeps it alive. You understand? So that's pretty good. Welcome in,
Lavette in the building. It's been a while.
Angie. Angie, thank you so
But
much
we
for opening
appreciate you,
up.
Angie. Thank you for your transparency.
You opened up. You opened up. Your transparency allowed us to take a general stance on this to help other people. So your vulnerability actually helped people. I want you to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of makes sense to everything that we're having a conversation about. So I appreciate you. Lavette, welcome in. It's been a while.
See, I do listen to
Yes.
you, coaches.
Hey, hey, hey.
Share with us your thoughts.
What you got, Lavette?
Angie, thank you for being transparent, first off. Um, and been there, still struggling there sometimes, and have to pick myself out of the situation and kind of analyze and go back.
Hmm.
But one thing that I learned this last year is that chaos, if you remain in it and don't take that step back, that any work that you've done is irrelevant if you're willing to sit in that chaos. And so I learned to remove myself from that situation until I had time to analyze where I was at emotionally during all the stuff that was happening this year.
Hmm.
And it helped. And I wouldn't have known to do that if it weren't for this Saturday panel and the Discord. Um, and I read a
Appreciate that.
little bit of your book. I did get a little bit in there, but like I said, that ADHD,
I
I'm
get
still
it.
trying to control it. Got to rein it in.
I get
But
it. I get it.
but
Listen.
I want people to know that people do notice when you start to change, and they will test those boundaries if you
Hmm.
allow it.
They will.
But once they realize that, hey, this is who I am now, I am not that same person, and I'm not going to let you bring me back to that area that I was so uncomfortable in.
Hmm. That's the boundaries.
Their
Good morning,
be-
Mama Nisa.
their behavior started to adapt, and the ones that weren't for me, they're gone. Like I don't have to worry about them anymore.
Love that. Love that.
The fluffy hormiga, like that fluffy word has stuck. And when chaos was going on, my father-in-law got so overstressed from everything that was going on that he had a stroke that turned into an aneurysm,
Hmm.
and it was not handled well by the people that have not done the work.
I'm so sorry.
And it's not your fault. He is doing great. He made it through an emergency surgery and an emergency flight lift, and
Love that.
um,
Love that.
it opened my husband's eyes to you guys' panel even more as we were going through all of this last year. We're still going through it, but I'm,
Hmm.
you know, trying to get back on my path. I think that things have settled enough that, I can go back to self because it all begins with self. And I just wanted to come up here and thank you guys and let you know that your words, your time is not wasted, that you are helping people. I may not be able to show up every week. I may not be able to show up to Discord. I may not be able to afford to purchase every book because I'm helping over there, but I appreciate you and you are helping. And that's all I wanted to say.
We appreciate you, 100%. I mean, and I think the most important thing in regards to all of this, right? Actually, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Gonna be gone.
Thank you guys.
That's for Angie and for her
That's for
brother as
both
well.
you and Angie. I think what we have to realize, right? And I know we don't have a lot of people in here, but I want everybody to realize that if you're here for a reason, right? If you're here sitting here with us, you're here for a reason, right? The conversations that we have, and I always reiterate this, is for self. It's not for anybody else. The platforms that we have, and I'm sure Derek can also say this as well. When it comes to his platform, is for self. It's for you to be better for self. It's not for the other individuals. It's not for the people that hurt you. It's for you to be able to focus on who you are as a person and who you're becoming in that aspect, right? The testimonies that come up here, obviously, it's work that's done over time. It's not something that's done overnight. And I want everybody to realize that these people have been around for a while. Livette's been around for a while. It's been a year since Livette started her journey with us. It's been a while since Angie has started her journey with us. Lala, it's been a while since they started. Like some of the people that you probably don't even see in here anymore. You know what I'm saying? They're flourishing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're flourishing because they don't have the time to actually sit in here because they're actually putting the effort to focus on themselves and being better. And that's our goal. We don't expect you guys to be here all the time. If you're not here, then I know that you're doing the work. You know what I'm saying? If you're here, that means there's still stuff that needs to that needs to be gathered and there's information that you need. So we expect you. So you're here. So that's understandable. But we don't expect you to be here all the time. It's not expected. I promise you, it's not. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather you be focusing on you and living life than be here if you don't have to be here. I really say that with my whole heart. Like I know the difficulties it is to actually focus on self and go through the journey. I did it for 5 years. My journey wasn't an easy journey. I went through it. You know what I'm saying? I went through it. I did everything that we tell you guys to do, I've done. I went through therapy. I went through coaching. I went through mentoring. I did all of that. I went through all of it, and that's why I came out on the other side the way that I am because I took the time to do the work. When I tell you guys you're gonna lose people, I'm not saying it just to say it. I said it. I say it because I've experienced it. I lost a lot of people in the process of me healing. Like I lost a lot of people. A lot of people that I was cool with. I don't even have conversations with them anymore. I don't. When Hormika said that you can learn from people that you don't like, I have more conversations with people that I don't like than I do. Like, like you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how that works because the reason why me and these people didn't have connections the way that I did is because of the person that I was before. But now that they see that my mindset is different, we connect in a different way that I didn't before. Now the people that I didn't have connections with, I'm actually friends with. You see how that shit works? That shit is twisted. Like it's twisted how the journey like shapes your whole environment to like a 360. Like it happens. But you have to be willing to see the change. You have to want to go through the change. You have to willing to be uncomfortable. There's a process to all of this. And you can't ignore the process. You can't try to fast track the process. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, you have to go through the stages. You have to go through the steps. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You might have to open up Pandora's box. I know a lot of people don't like touching their Pandora's box, but unfortunately, Pandora's box is where a lot of your shit is hiding. And you have to open.
Hold up. That's the hoarding.
That is the hoarding. You're
Pandora's
absolutely.
box is the hoarding.
That is exactly 100%. 100%. That is that, and we all know if you guys watch mythological stuff, when you open up Pandora's box, it's not an easy thing to close. Like you know what I'm saying? Once you open that thing, you got to deal with what comes out of it. No matter if you're ready for it or not, you got to be willing to really hit that. Go through those layers. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not taking the necessary steps to get the assistance, the tools, the guidance that you need from people that are in these fields that are willing to help. Not saying that everybody is the perfect coach or therapist, okay? Shop your therapist. Shop your coach. Ask questions. Okay? Not everybody that has the title is set out for this environment. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody. I'm just saying. Like, not everybody is just what it is. No shade to any coaches, but I gotta give you guys the honest truth, because if I don't give you the truth, then I'm lying to you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody that's in this layer, that's in this field that we have, that me and Hormiga, Coach Derek, Coach Tanya, you know what I'm saying? Lolita, like the people that are actually here to really help people and actually have people's back. Spiritual journey coach that was in here, you know what I'm saying? Coach, relationship coach Chris, like the people, like you gotta shop the people that are helping you. Overall, shop the people that are helping you, because you don't want to fall into the layer of they're trying to keep you there, so they want money out your pocket, so they're just trying to keep you there. We have people that do that. So I'm fair warning everybody that, that have questions about coaching, questions about therapy. Like, does it work? It works. It works. Okay? I've been through it. It works. Coaching works. You know why it works? Because I wanted it to work. The therapy works because I didn't lie to myself. You have to be transparent with yourself before you step into that room, right? Because once that therapist starts asking you questions and you can't answer those questions, you didn't take the time to assess yourself before you stepped into that room. You have to assess yourself before you step into that room. That's the one thing that they don't tell you. Assess yourself before you step into that room. Know exactly what you want to work on before you step into that room.
Yeah, what's your goal?
What
Because
is your right?
here's the thing about what you're saying, right? We tell you to show up for yourself, right? And that's like part one or part two, one or two, show up for yourself. But some people take that and are happy with just showing up. Showing up is important, right? But it's not enough. Now
No,
you're gonna show up, but what you're gonna do with your presence? Listen to what I just said. Self-awareness is all about being present, right? It's about your presence, right? Understanding your presence. So presence with a C at the end could also translate into presence, blessings. It is a it is a gift and a blessing and a present to be present and have presence in your life. So showing
that was a
up is
bar.
important. You like that, right?
That was a
Showing
bar.
up is important.
That was
Showing up is extremely important, and you can't do anything else without showing up. But
yeah,
showing up is not enough.
right. That was a bar, by the way. I just wanted to. Yeah,
Well, you're gonna have to go back to the videotape for that one because
that was a bar.
that shit came straight from the brain. So
Rusty, welcome in. How you doing today?
imagine that. Imagine that all you have to in certain things in life, all you have to do is be present because that's the only thing that role or that situation is calling for. But there's going to be other situations where
Absolutely.
showing up is not enough, and you need to recognize the difference between all I got to do is show up. Okay, fine. Well, I got to show up and I have to execute and I have to display my skill set and I have to open my ears.
Mm-hmm.
So understand what we're telling you. Pick and choose your battles, but understand the battles that you have before you add more battles.
Mm. No, facts.
Please, please,
Rusty,
I'm begging you.
Rusty, did you have a question? You're in the box, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but
Rusty's in the box.
I don't think
I
you
don't
do.
see.
I actually
Who
do not
doesn't?
have a. I
Oh,
was
now I
just
do.
listening in. Are a big influence in my wife's life. She's actually in here right now too. That girl, and I just as well.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. Um,
That's real life. That's real life time right now, ladies and gentlemen. None of this is planned.
right. I actually did have a plan, but I had somebody that was supposed to come in, but I guess they didn't get a chance to come in. But it's okay. We'll do it next time. Um. Oh,
We're here.
real quick, real quick. So there's a video that I duetted yesterday. um, about a gentleman that's dealing with CP, cerebral palsy. Okay, his mom is struggling to pay for his tuition. Now, I'm not asking anybody that if you want to support her, go to my video that I duetted and support. Anything and everything is appreciated, no matter how big or small the donation is. Okay, so if you guys want to support her, go to that video that I duetted. You'll see it. Um, of Tanya, I think her name is Tanya Brown, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to support her in regards to that, please go ahead and support. I already gave my donation to the GoFundMe in regards to it. So if you guys want to support her in regards to that aspect, I think that's a generous thing to do. It doesn't have to be nothing major, right? If you don't have it, you don't have it. But if you're able to, please definitely show some support in regards to that. Because I have friends, I've had friends and family that deals with cerebral palsy. So um, I'm really big on things like that. So if you can support, definitely support. I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Um, we're almost at 12 o'clock. I didn't give you guys a topic for next week. Oh, do you want to do a part two to this?
Yeah, let's do it
Okay.
because we have to teach people how to identify.
Yeah, we'll do a
Well,
part two to this.
first of all, I want people to understand that before you plant a seed, you got to get rid of the stuff that's on top of the dirt.
Right.
So clean the area physically, mentally, spiritually, hypothetically, any of these. Clean the area first. Put some alcohol before you put on the band-aid. Like clean the area first before you do the next step because you're gonna be putting dirt on top of dirt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
So
So
let's do
what's
that.
all right? So what sets off your chaos part two is going next week. I'm gonna try to create the event in regards to that now, so that way you guys can register. You guys have any closing remarks before we get off of here?
Yeah, Derek, definitely. I see the vein in Derek's
Yeah,
Good.
let me go first because I gotta. Well, I mean, we're closing anyway, but
Right, we're closing anyway.
um,
Yeah.
I would say don't let the chaos become your identity. There's light at the end of the tunnel. The proof is sitting right here in front of you. We all been through it. We're all going through it.
Hmm.
We sometimes we dive in the pool and come out of it and jump back in it again, and but we know how to get out, right? And that's the key. It doesn't mean that it'll never happen again. Um, Even when you feel like you've kind of rescued yourself from it or gotten help to rescue out of it, it
Right.
doesn't mean it won't happen again. It's about understanding what it is and having the tools to get yourself back on track. So do not let it become who you are because survival mode is an identity for some people. That survival mode victim mentality becomes your persona and it doesn't have to be. So if you need help, reach out. Even if it's not us, we can route you to somewhere where you can get the help for it. Because, like I said, some of us, it's been on us for so long, we don't know any other way.
Right.
I land.
I appreciate you, brother man. Levette, Rusty, you guys got anything y'all want to say before you guys get out?
I was gonna let him go first because he's on break, but I guess I'll go. I just want to say that, at first it's really hard to change that behavior, especially king of self love. Other people's opinion of you doesn't matter. But I tell you what, that is the most freeing thing because it let me know that I could continue my healing journey in the chaos and find peace, even though it seemed like everything that I knew and loved had been just pulled the rug from underneath.
Right.
And not caring what other people thought of my journey, or even including the people that I didn't think deserved to be a part of that journey, which was what Hormiga had brought over a year ago, that not everyone deserved to be on that journey. That information helped me survive, and it brought me to a new sense of survival where I didn't have to go with past behavior. I can go with what I learned, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I've been telling that to her for years, and it took you guys not being in our everyday lives to say the exact same thing that I've been trying to tell her for years. Like, it doesn't matter. And she seen me just leave family members because of their opinions and stuff. And
Right.
life can be hard, people can be mean. And personally, I think the chaos is the individual's ego, and it can't be separated. It does have to be gone through individually. And I want to thank you guys for being there
Of course.
for
Anytime.
people.
Anytime, anytime, anytime. And it's important too. Like I tell people that, and we tell people all the time, you have to experience the chaos in order to understand it. Because if you don't experience it, then you don't know how to operate within it. And that creates that balance. You know what I'm saying? Because once you experience the chaos, then you go searching for that peace. And once you have that peace, you have the balance in between the two.
And you
Um,
recognize the peace and want to be there.
that
Sorry.
part. No, you're
No,
good.
no,
That
no,
part.
no.
That's true.
Recognition is extremely important.
Yeah. What did you got, homemaker?
Well, all I'm going to share with you guys is this: if you look, uh, everybody takes something different. Sometimes they're busy, sometimes they're cooking, cleaning, doing nothing, sometimes they're exercising. If there was one thing that I would love for everybody to take out of this, is to understand that you can't keep running from things thinking that they're going to go away.
Mm,
The faster that you face it, the faster that you're going in the right direction. Running from chaos and running from
You are
problems,
absolutely correct.
that's what I'm saying. You cannot keep running from something, because what ends up happening is other things attached to it.
mm-hmm.
And now you're running from things and that you can't even recognize it anymore. It's better to face it when you know what it is, because that's why you're running from it. Not because you don't know what it is, it's because you know what it is, but you don't recognize it anymore because you didn't handle it. And now you have a closet full of shit chasing you. That's Pandora's box. When you open Pandora's box, at the people open Pandora's box when they're not ready to deal with Pandora. There are certain steps that you can do to prepare yourself for anything that you're going to do in life. Even if you don't need it, what does it hurt to take 2 or 3 minutes to ask yourself, did I cover everything? Is there something else? Maybe get somebody else involved. It cannot hurt you to reassure or to acknowledge yourself, because there could be something that you miss. How many times did you think about something before you went into it and you said, oh shit, I almost forgot something? How many times have you left the house thinking that you got everything, and halfway there,
I
you
do it
got,
a lot.
it's the same thing that when you go to the store, all right, you go to the dollar store, right? And you want to pick up a couple of items. Who goes to the store and picks up one item?
Right.
So it's the same thing in reverse.
We got
You
two
can't
people in the
you can't
box.
go to the
Hold on.
supermarket. You end up spending $70 in the supermarket, and then halfway home you realize that you didn't even pick up the thing you went there to get in the first place. So be mindful that keep your eyes on the prize, but if you're not the type that can handle looking to the left and looking to the right, keep staying focused on what you're doing until you develop that skill.
Absolutely. You got something,
That's
Dave?
what I got for you guys.
Just really quickly, what Rusty said earlier about him saying it for such a long time. Sometimes the call comes from within the house, and sometimes it comes from the outside. The thing
Very
that
true.
matters is whether or not that person is ready to receive that call. That's the point. And it feels like sometimes you're repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But at the same time, again, it's about whether or not that person wants to receive that call.
It's very important.
Very
Whether or
important.
not they're ready. Not that they don't want to, it's whether or not they're ready to.
Yeah. And the thing is that let's not try to be all the way ready before we do things, because that's what causes procrastination. If you feel that you've made a significant change and a significant awareness, go right ahead, man, and take the step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So what I got for you guys Chaos isn't. I wrote this down, so if you see me going that way, it's because I'm reading it. Chaos isn't just what happens around you. It's what you start to carry within you. If you don't take time to control it, some chaos is inherited, some is intentional, some is external, some is internal. But here's the truth: none of it has to be permanent. Peace is practice. The moment you choose to stop feeding chaos, you begin teaching your mind and body a new normal. Chaos may shape you, but it doesn't have to define you.
Say that one more time.
Chaos may shape you, but it doesn't have to define you.
Not everything that influences you is permanent.
It's not.
That's wild.
But that's what I got for you guys today. I will see you guys next Saturday for part 2 of this conversation. I remember where we left off, so we still have to talk about the inherited, and we also have to talk about the intentional. That's going to be
We could
fun.
we could start with the last one. I don't think we hit the third
We
one.
didn't hit the third one on the external, but we can definitely we could start from there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You know when.
Um in a world full of negativity, make sure y'all choose love and love on purpose. Keep life simple. Love is the glue. Respect is the flavor. You dig, you dig, you dig. Make sure y'all live within your value energy. And I pity the fool who doesn't mind their mental. Peace.
Peace out, baby.